Well, all week I was thinking about number one fantasy pick.
Oh yeah. We did talk about that.
Yeah.
We going snake draft or
Yeah.
what we
A
doing here?
traditional snake draft. You got the number one pick and you have to take it. Who are you taking?
I said Christian McCaffrey.
You did.
I feel like he's the one you have to take with that pick. I don't think that he's going to have the best year, but you take anybody else and it's a mistake. I think. Who do you got?
I
know you have someone else.
I am taking Dalvin Cook, and I am feeling excited about that.
That's a mistake.
Why? I don't think so. If the Vikings are smart, they are going to get back to what works for them, which is running the game and are running the ball and then throwing play action off of it. That's how they were successful those couple of years they were. And Dalvin Cook, I believe, was in the top 3 last year, even though he in total rushing yards, even though he missed a few games. Like he's just so good.
I guess for one, I don't think he's that good. And secondly, I feel like they brought somebody in and they were starting to split carries with them last year. But he did have 1,500 yards last year. 14 games. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You might be right. He might be a solid pick. I'll let you pick him and not me.
Current roster shows Alexander Madison in the second running back spot, and he's not there to take carries away. He's just there to spell him. Okay, so you got the number 2 pick now. Christian McCaffrey's gone. Who you taking number 2?
I guess Saquon.
Okay, see, he's one that I always forget about, but you're absolutely right. He deserves to be up there. Is he going to have a good enough season to make you happy with that at the end of the year? Or are you just taking it because you have to?
No, he's actually one I have my eye on.
Okay.
If we're being completely honest about our fantasy hopes. I know you want Dalvin Cook. Please don't use this against me, but I want Saquon. Don't be driving price up on me. I won't do it to Cook.
Okay. I'll make that deal with you.
All right. Hopefully none of our other competitors are listening in, but Saquon, in my story of the NFL this year, he has his best year ever and isn't hurt all year. You know,
he's also coming off of an ACL, right?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
So
that doesn't scare you.
I mean, it scares me, yeah. I'm hoping that I don't have to pay as much for him as you do for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I get you. But
if I do, then
even with a number 2 pick, you still like him though here in this scenario.
Fuck, I don't like any of it. I guess maybe Derrick Henry, but he's too one-dimensional for me.
Yeah.
He just doesn't do anything in the pass game. I mean, he can, but it's so few and far between that
they don't use him in the pass game enough.
Yeah. I don't think his hands are very good. I've seen him try wide open passes. Right off his face mask. So, yeah, I guess that's where I stand for that. But again, when I go into the draft, running back will be a priority, I guess, but similar to last year, I will prioritize tight end.
Okay.
I draft 2 of them. Tight ends.
You got Kells and Kittle.
I wanted Kelsey bad. That's who I got.
Yeah.
And I didn't want someone to get Kittle for less than I got Kelsey for.
So you were trying to drive up the price. And
I was trying to drive the price so I got stuck with them. That being said, I went undefeated and it worked out for me.
Yep.
So fuck all you guys. But
I was thinking it was the opposite. I was thinking you wanted Kittle and then got stuck with Kelsey, but maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't remember.
And then this year it's going to be the opposite, if I'm being honest. I want Kittle bad.
Yeah.
And I think Kelsey has a down year.
I think Kelsey has a down year too, or Kells, or whatever you want to call him.
Kelsey, whatever.
I'm not completely sold on Kittle's year though either, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, I'm not either. I'm nervous about it, but I think I don't trust Darren Waller yet. Some people might.
Yeah.
And you can never count. If you go fantasy wise, you never draft New England Patriots players.
Yeah.
I know they got a couple of tight ends that are probably going to see a lot of catches this year, but good God, banking on the Patriots to do what they're supposed to do. And I mean, they'll win their games. Don't get me wrong, but they may throw the ball 3 times.
Yeah, they're just going to do it in so odd ways and not give everybody the next week
come back and give you 15 targets.
Yep.
And he didn't start him because he didn't get any the game before. So yeah, fuck the Patriots and fantasy football. They're the worst. So yeah, it's all about the narrative of the league and how you see it's going to go. I love fantasy football, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
I've been playing out all these scenarios in my head, different things that could happen.
I know the league that we're in is an auction draft, and you say that you really like the auction draft.
It's the best.
Does it take away from the excitement of draft day for you at all?
No. Okay, maybe. Yeah, okay. I guess I could see what you're saying.
Because when I'm going into a snake draft, I try to mock like the entire first 2 rounds and whatever, and it makes the draft experience so much more involved. And I'm doing research about it for a month.
Well, and it's like I don't disagree, but I feel like the high that you get, so it's like an endorphin high from the draft.
Yeah.
And the high that you get from the draft lasts the entire day with a auction draft. For me, it does. And the reason being is if I do my job in the draft, the players that I really want don't go until hour 2 or 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I try to do it. And you did it the same way last year. I think we talked about it because it was your first. It was your first one, and we did a mock with my dad.
Yep.
And we all talked about how, when the draft starts, don't be putting players up that you want. Put players up that you think other people will want, and get them to spend their money on them.
Which is a good strategy. I'm not gonna, argue with you on that.
It's not perfect, but
it worked well. This year, I think I'm going to come at it from a different direction. I think this year I'm going to go with. I'm going to immediately start auctioning off my what would you consider like a 5th or 6th round player that I actually want. Try to get my cheap players fairly early, so I know what kind of money I'm working with later in the draft. I don't know how it's going to work, but last year I ended up with way too much money left over.
Yes, you did.
$28 left over at the end of my draft.
Yeah, you had way too much money left over. The only concern that I would say with that is if you're putting forth players you actually want that you think you could get later on, you might run the risk of other people thinking the same thing and the price being driven up on them. Yeah. When in reality, you could have got them for probably $1 at the end of the draft.
It's definitely risk versus reward there.
But you're right. I mean, if you play a different strategy, you might have a different result than you did last year. Mm-hmm. I know you weren't happy with the result from last year.
I actually didn't mind my draft class. Is just looking at it later. It's like, man, I could have spent an extra $10 here and had that player,
Yeah, which was yours coming up short and leaving money on the table. If you don't win, then you always have that what if.
Yep. And I even did that like 2 days after the draft, even though I was happy with my class. It's just like, man, I only missed that guy for $3 and I had this much money left over. It was ridiculous.